Comanche Peak area near Colorado State University Mountain Campus.
Well, Denver, there's a few things that we have to concern ourselves with as we progress into Saturday in our Halloween forecast. I know there's a lot of us out there that really want to celebrate it, any kind of outdoor events, maybe even doing some trick-or-treating. Obviously, we have to take into consideration COVID-19, but besides that, we also have the wildfires that we're still monitoring, still looking at an opportunity for some haze and some smoke out there, and not really getting into a lot of a precip chance even into the higher elevations in the next 24 hours. So that's definitely a concern that we're going to continue to monitor for. Besides that, we are looking at clear conditions, and the winds are going to start picking up with the dip of that frontal boundary system that comes out of Wyoming. It really doesn't bring a wet weather affair or even a frozen precip chance, but it does bring in some wind for us. 10 to 15 mile per hour sustained winds, and the gusts getting up to about 20 miles per hour. That's going to linger up to about 8 o'clock at night, which is around the same time frame that we're still maybe doing some trick-or-treating, if that's even plausible within your neighborhood out there due to COVID-19. So just take that into consideration that we are going to have a bit of a breeze. Starting off, though, in the low 40s for our morning in our Saturday, or Halloween, and we're going to remain clear all the way through the day side. Low mid-50s will be common. And for this time in the fall season, getting to the end of October, trying to transition into November, this is kind of seasonal for us out there. We're going to be off by 1 or 2 degrees below average.
57 degrees under clear skies. Here's our local Doppler radar.
The U.S.
Well, Denver, I want to pull you through into Tuesday's outlook. Rather pleasant for us. The daytime highs will most definitely be above average for the month of November. We're going to call those temperatures into the upper 60s and lower 70s, all of which, though, to be quite honest, give me a break. This is really comfortable for us, right? It's just technically for the month of November, we are going to be above average by about 5 to 10 degrees, to be more precise. So take that into consideration. But overall, I still want to call it light jacket weather, at least for the morning hours. Those morning lows will be hovering within the lower 40s for the next work week here. Still dealing with that chill on our Saturday or Halloween. It's going to be reasonably dry. The only thing I really want to watch out for is some breezy conditions by the late afternoon and early evening, and then watch out for that smoke content coming from the wildfires off around the mountains between the Front Range and the Park Range out there. And do not forget, between Saturday and Sunday, fall back 1 hour with those clocks. Daylight saving time, we're done with it for the year.
Got big plans Friday night? Here's a look at your forecast. Will the weather get in the way of your Saturday? Let's take a look. And here's how your Sunday's weather is shaping up.
Degrees under clear skies. Here's our local Doppler radar.
again, folks. Weather Channel meteorologist Greg Bennett here with an update to your weather across America forecast. We're actually lightening up on the higher winds across the Dakotas as we move into tomorrow afternoon, but when we get out there, we'll talk about it. In regards to the rest of the country, well, drier pattern is looking much more obvious out there. Anywhere from New England all the way back through the southeast and in towards the Four Corners. High pressure more of the dominant feature in these locations than actually getting into a major front or area of low pressure. Now, we do have fronts out there, along with low pressure, that's going to stay really up towards Canada. But the fronts do expand it down into the Central Plains. They're just going to be on the drier side. But in the meantime, we are still getting a steady, powerful onshore flow that comes in from the Gulf up the Central Plains and into those fronts where it feeds into the area of low pressure. So where we have that, we do have some breezy to gusty conditions. A couple of areas off around the Dakotas having still some high wind watches, but not as many as we were talking about earlier this afternoon. A few scattered storms towards the south with a frontal boundary system left over across South Florida and the Florida Keys. Elsewhere, it dries out. The temperatures are still below average across the southeast, Central Plains, and right up through the Ohio River Valley, even New England, well below the norm. Temperatures will be plummeting down to the low and mid 40s out here, but at least it's coming in with mild winds. So you don't have to worry about major wind chill factors, but there are 5 to 15 mile per hour sustained winds in these locations, and all you need is about 4 mile per hour winds to cause a wind chill. So we're definitely going to have that out there during the day side of our Halloween. Take that into consideration. Make sure the costumes have a jacket or a sweat attached to them. I think you're going to need them out there across the northeast and really even the southeast too. 64 to Atlanta, the daytime high tomorrow. 59 to Raleigh, North Carolina. 66 to Memphis. Warm. We've got the wet weather, scattered showers, a few thunderstorms with a stationary front across South Florida. Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Florida Keys getting into some thunderstorm activity that will remain through Sunday and even Monday. Further north, drier air, but cold out there. We do have some breezy conditions across the Central Plains with the stretch of a frontal boundary system. Off around South Dakota, closer to Rapid City, you're going to still have those high wind watches, but further north around Bismarck, they've actually pushed them away. We're still dealing with gusts at about 30 to 40 miles per hour, but we're not seeing gusts up to 50 or 60, which is still looking likely closer to around Rapid City, South Dakota. So take that into consideration. If you're up around the northern plains, it's still going to be a windy or breezy situation. Out to the Four Corners and the West Coast, yet again, still dealing with some high pressure out there. There is an upper level low that's coming onto shore off around Monterey and San Francisco, but it's not enough to bring in a wet weather affair. Temperatures looking good, but we are still monitoring for the wildfires out there. It's not red flag warning issues that we're dealing with, extremely dry conditions, but we are still dealing with those wildfires in regards to containment, and smoke is still billowing off around Fresno and off around Los Angeles. So lower air quality is looking likely across California and possibly off around Denver's metro due to the Cameron Peak fire and the East Troublesome fire within the mountains.
Proposition 117, a backdoor way for big businesses to shift their fees onto the rest of us. Paid for with cuts to our healthcare and schools. And in the middle of a health and financial crisis, don't be fooled. Vote no on Proposition 117. Prop 117 is a confusing mess. If 117 passes, we'll be stuck with the unintended consequences. Read it for yourself. It's just a bad idea at the wrong time. It'll cause massive uncertainty and damage our economic recovery. Vote no on 117.
As if COVID-19 hasn't